Alright everyone, the draft and free agency have concluded, so now we have the finalized teams, or close to it. People can still make some changes, but very limited, so we have a good idea about what all these teams will look like throughout the season. So I'm going to go through all of them and then rank them in a tier list. Alright, so let's start with the number 1 overall pick, Josh and the Georgia Houndooms. So immediately my thoughts are, wow, very scary special attacking spread damage, and Urshifu also is a very good complement with the strong physical attacks. The main three, they're also very complementary in typing. My big concern though is I think Wide Guard could be a nuisance to these two. But very, very scary front three. Looking deeper into the team, you have a lot of supporting options here. I would say I am a little confused on why Meowstic and Morgroom are here, because they are both prankster screen setters. I'm probably wrong, there's probably something else that they do that's unique, but that's what my initial reaction is. I do like Vivian having access to Tailwind and really accurate Sleep Powder. Also, I believe it has Friend Guard, yeah. So that's potentially very nice. Ditto, I think, is a fun pick, especially in a format with the restricted legends, because you just kind of get their legend if you want, right? Duosian, a good pick to set up Trick Room, so potentially for Blood Moon. Another positive, there's some varying speed tiers, with Calyrex being extremely fast, Ursaluna being very slow, being an anti-Trick Room option potentially, with Urshifu being more mid-speed, and a lot of the support options being of varying speeds as well. So it's very hard to, I guess, counter with Trick Room or even Tailwind, because Calyrex Shadow max speed will still outspeed stuff in Tailwind. Okay, big thing though. He only has one restricted legend, which I'm a little bit confused about, because Calyrex Shadow is restricted, Ursaluna and Urshifu are not. Unless I'm mistaken. Is Urshifu restricted? No. See? No, Urshifu not restricted, Ursaluna not restricted. So I think it is leaving a lot left on the table, only going with Calyrex Shadow, because even if you switch out like, I don't know, Meowstic or Morgroom, or even like Jumpluff, you could go get like a Zekrom or something, you know? But still, very strong front three and some good supporting options. So I'm going to put Josh in a high B. Now let's go to our second team, the Texas Terrapagos. So the restricteds are going to be Groudon and Eternatus, which is interesting. Groudon, obviously very strong Sunsetter. Eternatus being a good special attacker. I think it's good to have a physical and a special restricted if possible. But they're both weak to ice, which could be a problem. But then in addition to those, he also has a Flutter Mane, which is very, very scary. And a Whimsicott too. Being one of the best support options with the Prankster Tailwind and even like Prankster Encore, stuff like that, taunt. My biggest concern is there seems to be a lot of weakness overlap with some of these, but going into the back half of the team, Espathra I do really like, because it has so many options it can do. You know, speed boost obviously is very, very strong. Even Opportunist can be very interesting. You can build it a lot of different ways, and it has Baton Pass, as well as some other fun supporting options like Ally Switch, you know, screens. So, I do like the Espathra pick. Magmar, I think, is nice. It can benefit off of Groudon's Sun. Regigigas, I am a little confused on. I'm a little stumped. Because he doesn't have like a Weezing or anything like that, so I'm not really certain what he's planning to do with Regigigas, but we'll see. Bisharp, I think, is a good Eviolite user, even if it is 4 times weak to fighting. Very good attack stat, and defenses with Eviolite can be really nice. Duraludon, also very nice Eviolite user. And Luxray, at least it has Intimidate, right? That's some coverage with Electric. Now, going into my pros and cons, I think this front 4 is very strong. I think Whimsicott is a very oppressive support, and Fluttermane, obviously an excellent special attacker, with Eternatus and Groudon also being very capable in their own rights. And I think everything outside of maybe Luxray could be potentially brought very often, assuming he has a plan for Regigigas. I'm not really sure. But some things I don't love about this team is I think there are some weakness overlaps, right? With the restricteds, especially, both being weak to ice. A couple fairy types here. You know, fighting, being strong into all these 3. And also, I think, despite being a Sun team, there don't seem to be many Mons that can benefit well off of the Sun. Like, I see Magmar here, who, of course, can have boosted fire moves, but that special attack's only 100. Even with the boost, it's not going to be one-shotting opposing restricteds with neutral hits, right? Especially if it's like a heat wave. And in fact, some of these might actually not like the Sun, like Whimsicott, with fire threatening it especially, as well as Bisharp and Duraludon. They don't really like to be in the Sun. And I don't believe it really helps Eternatus either. I think it has Flamethrower, but yeah. I just don't really see how the Sun benefits this team very much, which is unfortunate. I could be missing something entirely. Like, you could run Chlorophyll on Whimsicott, but why would you do that over Prankster? I still think these front 4 are very, very strong, but because of the, I think, lack of synergy, especially with some of these Mons wanting to fight over items too. Like, all 3 of these guys might want Eviolite. A couple of these guys might want a Focus Sash, right? I am not super high on this team, at least not knowing some of the specific strategies you might have in mind, but I'm gonna go ahead and put it in a D tier. I am welcome to be proven wrong, though. Going on to the third team, it is the Tallahassee Tyrants. So, looking at it here, the restricteds, Calyrex Ice Rider, very, very bulky, very strong physical attack, with Glacial Lance being super, super strong. Also being a Trick Room setter. Problem is, only 50 speed, it really needs that Trick Room, right? Dialga, 90 speed. I mean, At minimum speed, it could definitely like work in Trick Room. Yeah, only 85 base speed. That's definitely workable in Trick Room. So, yeah, I think these two legends, they're very bulky. One good physical attacker, one good special attacker. I think pretty different typings that cover each other decently. I really like these front two, even if they are restricted to basically needing Trick Room. Then you have Among Us. Now, Among Us, obviously, we all know what it does. Just Spore, which I do like. Grimmsnarl, I actually really love for this comp with the Prankster screen setting. With these bulky restricteds who are slower, I think the Prankster screen setting of Grimmsnarl and also Fake Out support is going to be really, really nasty. So you can turn one like Fake Out to allow Trick Room to get up easier. And then you can just Prankster's Reflector Light Screen. Not to mention other nasty tricks he has, right? So, I really, really love the Grimmsnarl pick for this team. Gothitelle, it's another Trick Room setting option, another Psychic type. I don't love it because it kind of already has things that do its job, but it does have that Shadow Tag, and Altaria has Perish Song. Problem is you have to bring Altaria to use it. But again, not a horrible option there. And it is really playing into that Trick Room mindset of this whole team. But I do think it is a little redundant outside of Perish Trap. Then you have Toadscruel, who I think is extremely redundant, because what does it do that Among Us doesn't, right? And I guess you could bring both Spores, but that seems a little bit excessive to me. I think the more Spore users you have, you get some diminishing returns there. Especially with Mycelium Mite. I don't love the Toadscruel pick, because it's fast with negative priority Spore. So I really don't love it in a Trick Room here. But I could be missing something. There could be something different about Toadscruel that I'm missing. Rhyperior, very slow, bulky, physical attacking ground type. I do really like that. Pairing with Orthworm, you could just EQ spam. Tried and true strategy. Especially Orthworm, you can also Shed Tail with it, Coil. I do really like that for 3 points. Very good steal, I think, for this team. Getting a Shed Tail off going into like Calyrex Ice or something would be nasty. Or even like into Among Us, so then he's able to get Spore off more guaranteed, right? Altaria, I mean, it has Cloud9, which in a more weather heavy field, like there's a few sun teams or rain team, I think is not a bad thing to have. Problem is the stats are pretty stinky. It does have Perish Song, but it has some niche uses. I don't hate it here, especially for 2 points. Quagsire, I mean, it's a great typing water ground. Investing in the bulk, it can be decently tanky with really slow speed. I don't mind that pick either, especially for 2. So overall, I'd say the team Edie's going to be really, really annoying to play against, but it really only has one thing it does, which is Trick Room. It needs the Trick Room. And also, there's nothing like with any real speed, because I don't really count Toadscruel. Only 100, and it has negative priority status moves. I think the next fastest is Dialga Origin at 90. So this team needs Trick Room, but I think if he gets Trick Room up safely, it is going to be extremely difficult to win against this team. So, very, very scary team. I'm going to put it... I think I'm going to put it also in a B tier. We'll see how it does. I'm very excited to see how oppressive this team could be. Alright, now the fourth team, the Cloisters. Starting off with Miraidon and Kyogre. Initially, I wasn't a huge fan of this because Miraidon is not really going to be using Thunder, right? It's going to be wanting to use like Electro Drift. And I thought, well, in Rain, you kind of just want to use a Thunder user, right? Felt like Miraidon was a little not able to take full advantage of the Rain, like maybe other electric types. But looking at it deeper, I am really a big fan of this team. First of all, the electric terrain and the rain going up, that's two field effects that this team can take full advantage of. That's going to be very, very strong. Both the front two legends are special attackers, but there are some very, very high physical attack mons in the back. So I don't think that's too much of a problem. With Basculegion, obviously Swift Swim, or even just going adaptability in the rain. 112 attack isn't the highest, but with adaptability and especially things like Last Respects or Liquidation in the rain, huge physical threat. Love that. Iron Boulder, rock coverage is very nice, psychic, very fast, very high physical attack. It has a very nice move pool here that is going to be very, very scary to go against. The Iron Treads, I'm not as big of a fan of, but still it is more physical attacking options. It's decently bulky. And of course, both of these two can benefit off of the electric terrain, as Basculegion benefits off the rain. Volbeat, I don't mind. It has just Prankster Tailwind, and I guess Prankster Tail Glow, but 47 special attack. Maybe you can psych up with something. But it could be an annoying little support mon, I don't mind that. Raichu Alola, I do really like Surge Surfer. Speed is doubled in electric terrain, and it can use Thunder, guaranteed to hit in the rain. So electric terrain and rain, it benefits off both of those. Love that pick. Skarmory, I mean, great typing, good bulk, never a bad option. Furret, you know, a little bit of a shitmon, but it has Belly Drum, it can do something. And Charjabug, I have used before. It is a menace with the Eviolite. My only concern is it might not have very great survivability in this restricted format. The rain does mitigate its fire weakness though, and the electric terrain does boost its electric move, so it is very nice on this team still. So this team, I think, is excellent. I think both field effects are very, very good. A lot of the Pokemon can take advantage of them. There's a good mix of special and physical attackers. And there's multiple ways to speed control, right? You could just Swift Swim in the rain. Miraidon is just naturally extremely fast. You can Prankster Tailwind, right? So there's several different things you can do there. The only big thing I have is there is a pretty decent grass weakness here. I think something like Ogerpon Grass will wreck this team, right? Of course, resisting Miraidon's electric moves, resisting the water moves from Kyogre and Basculegion. Grass type being able to threaten Iron Boulder super effectively, as well as Basculegion Kyogre. So I think Grass does hit. He's really good against all these big breakers at the front here. So that is the only thing I'd be wary of, but one type weakness is not the biggest deal in the world in a format with terastallization. So I still think I'm going to put this team in an S tier. I think this is the team to beat right now. Now going on to our 5th team, we have the Egg Scissors. Ho-Oh and Dialga as the front 2. They're both very bulky, which I do like. Maybe not the most scary restricteds out there, but I don't mind it. They have very good survivability, differing typings, especially paired with Ursaluna. I do really love that trio. Sylveon here, a fairy type, is always nice, very slow. Reuniclus to set up the Trick Room. Gastrodon, I do really like this pick. With Storm Drain, it can protect Ho-Oh and Ursaluna from water moves, like a Liquidation or a Hydro Pump or something. It can just draw those in and protect them, which I really, really love. Hitmontop, Intimidate, also Technician, great supporting options. Like, it has Fake Out, it has like Wide Guard, Baton Pass, Coaching, right? Also can set up different weathers, and also some good physical damage with Close Combat or Bullet Punch, Mach Punch, right? Good coverage too. Really like Hitmontop here as a just support mon that you can throw on any team and use, right? Electabuzz, very nice with the Eviolite, good special attacker. With Shiftry, I mean, it's a grass type. I don't love Shiftry, not in the sun, but, it's still a good grass type, which I think is always nice to have to fight against, like, Spore mainly. But Toxtricity, I also don't love having the type overlap with Electabuzz, but having a good poison type to counteract fairies is never a bad idea. So overall for this team, I'm liking all the bulk here. There's a good variation of special and physical attackers. And you could win in Tailwind or Trick Room, right? Because Ho-Oh can set up the Tailwind, and you could just build things fast, or you could have Reuniclus set up the Trick Room, build things slow. Very versatile in that way. My negatives, maybe the restricteds aren't broken, right? In the way maybe a Calyrex Shadow Rider or a Miraidon is. But I still do like them. They're just not going to be as scary. And I don't think there's any one, like, monstrous mon you have to plan around, except maybe Ursaluna, right? Who, in this format with restricteds, is going to be less scary. But it is very much a team effort here with this team. And I think it's pretty solid. I am going to put it... Let's go in the C tier. I think it can be pretty solid. Now we go into my team. I don't want to reveal too much, but I'm gonna say there is a great physical offensive, right? With Zacian, with Ceruledge, Scizor, right? Even Lycanroc with priority. Very imposing physically. My problem is on the special side, I think my team is a little lacking, because even running Lugia specially, it's very much more of a bulky mon. It's not going to be doing major damage. And Teleon does have good speed and special attack, but it is relatively frail. Ribombee, also very fast. A special attacker, not great special attack, but it's going to need a Focus Sash, right? And Alolan Persian, special attacker, but only 75, that doesn't really count. Sceptile, I mean, 105 special attack if I want to run it as a special attacker. Not the worst in the world. I just don't think there's any one like major special threat, so something like a Reflect could neuter my team. Beyond that, though, I think maybe a few of my mons might want to fight over a Focus Sash, right? Like Inteleon, Ribombee, and Smeargle might all want Focus Sashes. And I think also my team is very vulnerable to Trick Room, because besides like Smeargle and Scizor, I don't have anyone below 110 speed, right? So that might be a little bit of a problem. Also, priority Tailwind, because I don't have any like Prankster or Gale Wings Tailwind users. Ribombee has it and is very fast, or Lugia has it and has very good survivability with multi-scale, right? But it would be very easy for some other teams to set up their speed control before me. Or not Trick Room, but you know, that really cooks me regardless. Now the positives, I think the support options are pretty good with Smeargle, obviously having everything. Ribombee, right? Even Alolan Persian with Fur Coat, I think can do some nice support. I think my team will be solid. I definitely don't think it's the best team here, but I am pretty happy with it. I'm gonna go ahead and also put it in the C tier. Now going into our final two teams, we now have the Shady Shiftry. So at the front here we have Koraidon and Reshiram. So Koraidon obviously setting up the sun, and Reshiram being a fire type that can benefit off it, one being a physical, one a special attacker. I do like that. They are both sharing a major fairy weakness, which I don't love, especially considering how strong fairies are in this format. Because I think fairies 4 times effective against Koraidon and 2 times against Reshiram. So I think any strong opposing fairies will pose a major threat, especially with the only real anti-fairy option being Toxicroak, who has 85 speed and 106 attack. Even if he is stab poison type, that's not gonna cut it, I think, in killing opposing fairies. Also, in a sun team, I don't get Toxicroak because I guess you could use Anticipation, but really you're pigeonholed into using Poison Touch, which isn't an awful ability, but Dry Skin just hurts you in the sun, so that's not a good thing. It doesn't really benefit from the sun. Reshiram benefits from the sun, Arcanine benefits from the sun, both being fire types. But that's kind of it. And actually, several of these Pokemon really don't want to be in the sun. Like Cottony, it's probably not going to be brought much if I had to guess. But being a grass type, it does not want to be in the sun. Galvantula definitely doesn't want to be in the sun. Thwackey doesn't want to be in the sun. Toxicroak really doesn't want to be in the sun either. Sableye doesn't benefit from it. Clefairy doesn't benefit from it. Arcanine does. Reshiram does. Landorus, I don't think particularly benefits from the sun. So I really am not a huge fan of how, I guess, the sun seems to actually hurt most of the team more than help, which is not ideal, I think. Also, being a lot of type overlap here, with a lot of these being fire type, dragon type, right? Sharing a lot of common weaknesses too, even without type overlap, like fire weakness. So, I don't love that. On the positive though, in that sun, the mixed attacking offensive of Koraidon and Reshiram, and even bringing in an Arcanine, is going to be very, very tough to beat. without like a proper counter, like turning the sun off maybe, or like a strong fairy or something, right? So I think that fire core is still very strong in the sun. I think it's just pretty exploitable. There's also some good supporting options though. I do like Clefairy here with Friend Guard, Follow Me, right? Sableye, I think Prankster, Screen Setter, right? Yeah. So I like that too. Maybe Galvantula for some speed control. Thwacky, grassy terrain to counter other terrains could be nice. Also, Fake Out is good. So I do like these supporting options, and I do like how strong that fire offense could be. I just don't think this team is very complementary. I could be missing something completely, but as I see it right now, I'm going to put it in a D tier. But we'll see. Last time the team I thought was the worst went on to go undefeated, so you never know, right? Now onto our last team, the Asheville Turtwigs. The two restricteds, I do like. They're both special attackers and both of middling speed, but they're very, very high special attackers with good bulk and good different typings. Although Psychic Ghost isn't a great type, but still. I don't mind that, especially when you have other like physical attacking threats like Ogerpon, right? Like Tauros, like Crocodile. And also in the back, there's some really high special attacking mons too, like Florges and Magnezone. Indeedee, great support. And Tornadus, Prankster, Tailwind. I do really, really like that. With this team, there are a lot of different options for high power offense. And there's some great type diversity too. Like, I think this team is possibly the most versatile team. And it can even Tailwind or Trick Room, right? It can Tailwind with Tornadus, Trick Room with Indeedee. It can work in both. So I do really, really like that. I just think with the restricted mons being such middling speed, I mean 100, I guess in this format nowadays is middling, but especially 77. You either need Tailwind or Trick Room, right? You kind of need one. But there's so many things you can do with this team. I do really, really like it. I think it is going to be a problem. So I'm going to put that in the A tier. So I think that concludes the list. Let me know if I'm wrong. I probably will be. It would be shocking to me if these end up being the 1, 2, 3, 4 seed, right? But this is the teams right now as I see them.